What's way easier to make than cookies, healthy, and one of my kids' favorite treats, these vegan, no-bake cookie bars. Hey guys, I'm Nikki Sizemore. Welcome to my kitchen. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're making vegan, no-bake cookies. Actually, we're making cookie bars because making bars is way easier than scooping cookies. In fact, this batter is a cinch. It comes together in minutes. You don't even need to turn on your oven. And best of all, these no-bake cookies are really nutritious. They're high in fiber and protein and all that good stuff, but it doesn't matter because my kids love them. I love them. I hope you will love them. Don't forget to like and subscribe. That way you won't miss out on any of my wholesome, family-friendly, and naturally gluten-free recipes. So the cookie bars get made right in a food processor, and that's gonna chop everything up and hold the bars together. I'm gonna start with 2 cups of old-fashioned rolled oats, unsweetened shredded coconut, 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds. It's gonna add some fiber as well as help to hold the bars together. It's a tablespoon of chia seeds. I have some cinnamon. I love adding cinnamon to chocolate chip cookies. I don't even know if I mentioned that there's chocolate chips in these cookie bars. I mean, of course. And then we have raisins, and the raisins are gonna add a little bit more sweetness, and they're also gonna add a little bit more stickiness, but really you can use any dried fruit that you like. Dried cherries, cranberries, chopped dates. We're gonna pop the lid on, and you just wanna pulse this. At this point, we just wanna chop everything up. All right, you can see everything's broken down. The oats are kind of coarsely chopped. That's gonna make them nice and sticky. All right, we got our dry ingredients, but I just realized I forgot to add the salt, a ½ teaspoon of kosher salt, and I'm just gonna sprinkle that right in right here. All right, now for the wet ingredients, and this is really simple. We're using maple syrup as a sweetener. You could use honey instead. We'll need a ½ cup of that, and then some nut butter. So I'm using a mix of peanut butter and almond butter. You could use any nut butter you like. If you wanna go for a nut-free version, you could use sunflower seed butter or a seed butter. All right, we've got that in. We're gonna use a little bit of almond extract. I love almond extract, and that's just gonna highlight some of the sweetness in the bars. And then last but not least, some coconut oil. So I'm gonna microwave this until the coconut oil is melted and everything kind of gets smooth. But if you prefer, you can totally do this in a little pot on the stove. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna go microwave. Everything is nice and warm. I'm just gonna give it a stir to combine. Now we're gonna pour this over the dry ingredients in the food processor. And we'll pulse again just until everything is nice and sticky. All right, this looks great. You can see everything is really well incorporated and sticky. So now we've got one more ingredient, perhaps the most important ingredient of all. We've got some chocolate chips, and we'll pulse again just to incorporate those. There is a high chocolate to cookie ratio in these cookie bars. That is it. The batter is ready to go. You can see everything is nice and sticky and well incorporated. So what I've done is lined a 8 by 8 inch pan with parchment paper. Just spray it down with cooking spray. That's gonna help the parchment to stick. It's also gonna prevent the cookies from sticking to the side. And we'll scrape this right into the pan. And now this is usually where I call in my 6-year-old who loves to help me cook. In fact, my 11-year-old often makes these all on her own because they're so simple. Here's what you gotta do. You gotta get your hands dirty. I'm gonna wet my hands with a little water, and then we're gonna press down the cookies. Getting your hands damp is just gonna prevent them from sticking to the batter. You wanna press them nice and firmly because we want these to hold together after they're chilled. Some of that chocolate in the cookie bars is gonna start to melt, so you're gonna have like some big chocolate chips, some melted chocolate strewn throughout. I'm tempted to lick my fingers, but I'm not going to yet because we have one more ingredient, more chocolate. You can never have too much chocolate in chocolate chip cookies. So I'm gonna sprinkle some more chocolate chips, just a tablespoon, over the top. And then you kinda wanna get in there like really gently and just press them into the cookie bars. And then I have one more ingredient that's totally optional. But if, like me, you like a sweet and salty situation, then you're gonna wanna add some flaky sea salt to the top of the cookie bars. And that, to me, is like pure heaven, the sweetness and then the pop of saltiness. All right, these are done. They took minutes to make. Now all we have to do is refrigerate them for about an hour until they're set. All right, the cookie bars are all set up. So now for the best part, we get to taste them. Just take a small knife and run it along the edges. And then we're gonna take this parchment, pop it right out. All right, let's give them a taste. Guys, first of all, that sea salt on the top, I got tons of chocolate, a little hint of that nut butter. They're not too sweet, but they're definitely sweet enough, and I love the texture. We keep a batch of these in the freezer at all times. They're one of our favorite after dinner treats. The kids eat them as after school snacks. I eat them whenever I need to pick me up. I hope that you guys will give them a try. You can get the full recipe with all of the measurements, all of the details at the recipe link below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.